How you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers presented by Ashley. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the afternoon. Joining me here live in the Xfinity mobile studio, it is Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. Charlie, long time no see. I hope you really enjoyed your weekend.
Yeah, it was quite busy, in fact.
Yeah. In the interest of full disclosure here, because we're definitely going to say stuff that you're like, no, that already happened. We are recording this on Sunday afternoon. It's around a little after 2:15 Sunday afternoon. So if like John Carlson is now signed with the Carolina Hurricanes or something, and we're like, well, he hasn't signed yet. This was pre-recorded. We have other professional obligations on Monday. Sorry for the pre-recorded show. We'll be back Tuesday, 1 p.m., normal time, normal place, right here on the PHLY Sports YouTube page. All right, Chuck, let's get into it. First, I just have to thank everybody involved with our draft coverage over this weekend, starting with the one and only Charlie O'Connor. Excellent work on Friday night, holding it down in Atlantic City while I drank Yards beers at Yards Brewery and had a nice time with Kelly and Steve. Of course, everything that happened in AC on a Saturday for day 2. We're together. All the guests at the Flyers and Flyers PR were able to hook us up. Brenna, her tremendous work producing like 9 hours of live content in the course of, I don't know, like 30 hours. Like that was pretty damn impressive. Everyone who came out to Yards, everyone who watched everything, really, really appreciate all involved with our draft coverage. And now it's time for the draft results, Charlie.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we you know who they took. We all know who they took. It starts, of course, in the first round with Maxim Sokolovsky, the hulking 6'7", 240-pound defenseman. In the second round, Brek Liskey, a right-handed defenseman who's decent at everything. In the second of 2 second-round picks, they took a goalie, Martin Pisalovic. Is that how Alex told us to say it?
I believe that's how Alex told us to say it, yes.
All right. I believe him. In the fourth round, Marek Sklenichka. I knew there was yes. Marek Sklenichka, another goalie. KJ or Kent Sauer in the fifth round, however you want to say it. And then, of course, in the seventh round, Max Leitkinen. I want to play for everybody. Of course, you can check out all of Charlie's prospect profiles right here on the PHLY Sports YouTube page. But, Charlie, you absolutely did a great job nailing, Maxim Sokolovsky. He sounds like a Flyer, and now he is. We can play a little bit of that prospect profile for you right here and then come back on the other side to talk a bit about that and some of the other picks.
Want the Flyers to get bigger, to get stronger, to maybe get a little meaner in this year's NHL draft? Then the 6'8" Maxim Sokolovsky could be just the player for you. Look, there are some big defensemen that are tall, but they prefer to play a little bit more of a finesse game. That is not Maxim Sokolovsky. He is a mean blue liner with a capital M. He plays in London with the Knights. That's an organization the Flyers love. Keith Jones has strong connections with the Hunters in London, and they went to that well before they drafted Denver Barkey and Oliver Bonk out of London, and looks like both of those picks are going to turn out pretty well. But there's also plenty of risk. Look, Sokolovsky could hit He could become that unicorn of a mean, nasty top 4 big minutes defenseman in the NHL that every team wants, or he could be one of those guys where he makes the roster only because he was a first-round pick and sticks around for 6-7 years as a team's number 7, and every time you play him, he's terrible. The potential reward is there with Maxim Sokolovsky, but the risk is pretty high as well.
All right, Charlie. So that's what you had to say about him pre-draft. Now, you weren't as down on this pick as some people. We talked about the boom or bust aspect of this, and it's not your typical, well, he's either going to be a 50-goal scorer or he's going to be, like back in the KHL or something. Like, that's like the idea of a boom or bust guy. This is a little different. How are you feeling about it, 48 hours or whatever after the pick?
Yeah, I pretty much feel the same way I felt, in the immediate aftermath of the pick. We obviously talked about it a ton on Saturday's show as well. To me, like, it's a very predictable pick. This was not a pick that really, if you did research going into the draft, it should surprise you that the Flyers liked Maxim Sokolovsky. Like, this is just, in a lot of ways, the kind of guy that this front office is going to like. Number one, the size and the nastiness. He's physical, he's mean, but also number one on the other side of the front, like, the London factor, that's huge for the Flyers. They think that London is a great developer of talent. They have the in with the Hunters via the Keith Jones friendship, and they went into this draft wanting to go defense. They wanted to go defense, particularly wanted to go left shot defense. We talked to Todd Reardon on Saturday, and he mentioned, they felt like getting a big left shot really does fit in with the way that the rest of this defense is shaping up long term. So I totally get why they did it. Would he have been my preferred choice at the slot? No, he wouldn't. But I ranked him 33rd. So it's not like I had him, down in the 50s and he wasn't even on my board. Like, to me, it's a little bit of a reach. I do like that they traded down and picked up extra picks. Kind of the one part of it that, makes it a little bit less exciting now as opposed to where I was on Friday is that the picks that they got in the trade down, they didn't pick anybody I'm particularly excited about. They picked 2 goalies who the public sphere is not particularly high on. So it's like, cool, you stockpiled assets, but like, are either of those goalies going to pan out? I guess we'll see. Goalies usually don't, but I get why you wanted to, build up the pipeline there. Overall, Sokolovsky, like, I'm okay with it. Probably would have picked someone else if I was running the draft board, but I get it, and I don't think it's a crazy reach.
Yeah, and I think that's what it comes down to. Like, you had him ranked 33rd. He goes 27th, and this is a draft where, like, the range for Sokolovsky to go on elite prospects was literally 19 to 40. Like, so it's a little jumbled there. I feel like he kind of fits where he went. I realize it's just so stereotypical Flyers, and it's hard not to, like, even if I think, and we'll talk about this later after we go over some of the draft grades that some national writers gave them, like, even if I can see the upside that isn't just like, he's a mean Flyer, he's a bully, we're bringing back the bullies. Like, I get why people think that, like, I get where that criticism comes from, because we do often, as the Flyers world often reverts to that. And it's hard not to hold that against them, even if it's like, no, this guy's just like maybe going to be a really, really good defensive defenseman who also can kill you. Like, he happens to be gigantic, which is, of course, an advantage while defending.
Sure,
if you can reach a guy and he can't reach you, that's good. Like, if you could break up a play from far away, that's good. But we'll get into that. Round 2, Brek Liskey, Charlie. It's funny, just like looking at his like EP, like each individual trait, 5 or 5.5 on everything on a scale of 1 to 9. And that seems to be the consensus. Yeah, man, he just doesn't, he's good at a lot of stuff. Doesn't seem special at anything, but could definitely see him in the NHL one day somewhere in a lineup.
Yeah, I think I said this in my the article I wrote on allphly.com for diehards only after the draft. Even though I think Sokolovsky is the better prospect, like when we do our top 20 ranking, I will have Sokolovsky ahead of Liskey on our list. I don't know what Alex is going to have. Maybe Alex will have him switched. I don't know. I will have Sokolovsky ahead of Liskey. That said, Liskey was my favorite pick that the Flyers made in this draft. Like, I think it was the best value pick that they made in the draft. Even though I think Sokolovsky is the better prospect, he has probably the higher ceiling. He's just a more unique player than Liskey, who's basically in a lot of ways just kind of like your boilerplate right-handed shooting defenseman. But what I like about this pick, number one, he's got all the tools to be a decent enough NHL defenseman. Second pair is probably his ceiling. But number two, I like that they are betting on a guy who was buried a little bit in the lineup, but his statistical profile is very impressive. He played for Everett, which had Landon Dupont as their number one defenseman. There was a good chance he's going to be the number one overall pick next season. Liskey wasn't really on his pairing until the playoffs, until there's I'm forgetting his name, but it's an Anaheim prospect. An Anaheim defense prospect was kind of like their number two, who spent most of the year.
Jackson or Johnson, I can't remember.
Yeah, he spent most of the year with Dupont. Then he got hurt. And when Liskey jumped up to play with Dupont largely and started getting 23, 24 minutes a night, he started scoring at a point per game pace. He was point per game pace in the playoffs heading into the Memorial Cup. This could be a guy who, had he been used like a top pair defenseman all year, he could have been easily in the first round conversation based on what he did when he was used like a first pair defenseman. And this is a guy where this time next year, Liskey could have, a 65, 70 point season as a draft +1 as their top pair number one defenseman next season. And then we're talking about how this pick looks like a steal. So I like the upside here in terms of like, you might have gotten a guy who would have been a first rounder had he been used like all the guys who went in the first round, aside from maybe Sokolowski.
Yeah. All that stuff you're saying is great. It makes a ton of sense. We talked about it on Saturday and you found out more information. I heard you ask the question, I think, to Brent Flahr at the presser on Saturday, just about like, hey, when they changed his usage, his numbers really went up, huh? Like that's sort of quite like, maybe these things are connected. Perhaps he's a little better than his production. I like all of that. Good stuff. My favorite thing, though, and I put this on social media yesterday. I wish I wasn't such a sucker and so easy to be pandered to. I wish I wasn't susceptible to this, because I recognize this is like a character flaw in evaluating professionally evaluating an athlete. But goddamn, do I love that he grew up a Flyers fan, Charlie. I saw his, Zoom conference with some of the media from yesterday, and we have a clip of him talking about growing up a Flyers fan because his dad brainwashed him, which is exactly what you got to do. Get him young, like tobacco.
Yeah, so my dad was always a big Flyers fan throughout his whole life and kind of brainwashed me into it. So from a young age, I was going to Flyers games, wearing Flyers stuff. Yeah, I've just always been a Flyers fan. A lot of Jets fans in Winnipeg, so would like to give it to those guys. But I don't know, just always loved Philly.
Breck, are you wearing a Flyers jersey?
I am, yeah. So watch party at my cabin right now, and it's about 30 people in Flyers jerseys because of how many my dad has here. So, yeah.
All right, Charlie. So that is Breck Liskey in rounds. Their second round pick, they took a goalie, as they did with their fourth round pick. Their goalies, you said already, the public sphere not very high on them. Neither of us are going to pretend to be goalie experts, especially one. They're both Czech. One played in Czechia, one played over here, but is there any information you have gathered since we have talked Saturday about them, or can we just go on to the next two?
Yeah, I mean, Pisalovic, what I gather with him, which is interesting, and I asked Brent Flahr about this after we got done on Saturday. The interesting part about him is that he's apparently a very athletic goalie who isn't that great of a skater. It's very interesting. Like, you don't usually hear about skating when you're talking about a goalie, because like we all think of skating as like speed and, what are his edges like and whatever. And goalies, maybe the only time they have to worry about that is when they're doing, suicides with John Tortorella. But skating does matter for goalies. It matters in terms of how quickly you can push. You move laterally. It matters in terms of recovery. When you go down on the ice, how quickly can you get back up? How efficient can you be in your movements? And it seems like he needs to do a lot of work to get better in the skating aspect of his game. I asked Brent Flahr about that, and he basically was like, yeah, we think we can fix it. Which, like, classic Flyer, it wouldn't be a Flyers draft if they didn't pick somebody who slipped down the board because of the skating. I just didn't ever think it was going to be the goalie.
That's tremendous. They have to hit on all their tropes, Charlie.
They do.
This is like a series finale where if it's like we don't do some fan service here, everyone's gonna hate us forever. We absolutely have to hit all of our tropes, and so yeah, and it's a goalie who can't skate, so that makes it even more fun. In the 5th round, KJ or Kent Sauer, depending on where you look it up. Do we have any indication of what his actual name is?
I believe he prefers to go by KJ.
Okay. All right. That's all I really care to say about him. He's a 5th round pick. Maybe it works. That would be cool.
Yeah. I like the thought process behind the pick. I mean, they've gotten good picks in the 5th round by going the Minnesota high school route before with Noah Cates and Alex Bump. It seems like Brent Flahr does have connections still in the Minnesota high school world. So maybe they're able to identify a player that other people didn't scout that heavily.
That was an interesting thing that came up because you and I made the joke, like, you say Minnesota high school and it's like, oh, what, Jay O'Brien? It's like, well, yeah, that was a bad 1st round pick.
And he wasn't from Minnesota. He wasn't. He was from New England, right?
He was New England, right?
Yeah,
he was like Boston or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Just the high school, but like, 1, Minnesota high school hockey, awesome. 2, it's in the 5th round. So take a high school kid and see how it goes. It's the 5th freaking round. And then speaking of taking young guys, Chuck, Max Leikkinen, right-handed defenseman, won't be 18 until September 14th. The draft cutoff, September 15th. If he was 25 hours older, he would not be drafted for a whole calendar year. So the Flyers get the youngest guy there, but I am a little disappointed because that's at 213. It's fun to take the youngest guy, a lot of runway there. Maybe he's better than, a mid-7th round pick. But if the Sharks hadn't taken him at 201, Flyers are absolutely going Alexander Karmenov, right? The 7-1 OHL defenseman. Like, what if they take Sokolovsky and he's not even the biggest defenseman they took? They would have had to, right?
It would have been amazing to see both of those guys at development camp, like standing next to each other. That would have been absolutely incredible. I don't know if they liked Karmenov, but talking about Leikkinen,
I bet they did.
I think the part, and I actually like this pick. It's a solid upside swing in the 7th round. Most likely he's not going to pan out because 7th round picks rarely pan out.
7th round pick.
I like the thought process behind it. I dig the pick. But what I really got a kick out of was, so after day 1, I forget who asked the question, but somebody asked the question to Briere about, defensemen and about the fact that like Sokolovsky is more of a defensively oriented guy. And Danny was like, well, we may try to balance that out with a puck mover. We may look to draft a puck mover. And of course, everybody immediately jumped to like Villeneuve, like, oh man, are they going to get a Sokolovsky? Are they going to try to trade it for Villeneuve? They did not. But I found it very funny that like in the 7th round, he's like, oh crap, I got to get that puck mover or else they're going to call me out. All right, I'll take the puck mover. That was funny.
But I do like the idea of taking a 17-year-old and going, you know what? It's the 7th round. Maybe we get some value here. Who knows? It's a little bit Jordan Mailata to me. Like, hey, if it works, might be some great value. Now, like, he turned out awesome. But, like, I'm just saying, maybe he's better than a 7th round pick. Who knows? All right, on the other side, we're going to talk about the national grades the Flyers got for their draft picks. Stay tuned through this quick 2-minute break. This is the event you've been waiting for. Ashley's 250 Hours of Savings Stars and Stripes event is happening right now through July 5th. Right now, you can save up to 20% on all furniture or take advantage of 60 months no-interest financing. Plus, don't miss $250 doorbuster flash sales, special July 4th giveaways, and limited-time savings throughout the event. Find unbeatable value on the styles you love at Ashley's 250 Hours of Savings event. Visit your nearest Ashley store or head to homestores.store to learn more. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep your Wi-Fi at the same price for 5 years? Well, that's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together. Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And Wi-Fi that lets you stream the game even when the whole family's already online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And the best part, there's no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment is, of course, included. Take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable, and the price should stay put. Lock your price in and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply, and as always, let's go Flyers! This is the event you've been waiting for. Ashley's 250 Hours of Savings Stars and Stripes event is happening right now through July 5th. Right now, you can save up to 20% on all furniture or take advantage of 60 months no-interest financing. Plus, don't miss $250 doorbuster flash sales, special July 4th giveaways, and limited-time savings throughout the event. Find unbeatable value on the styles you love at Ashley's 250 Hours of Savings event. Visit your nearest Ashley store or head to homestores.store to learn more. Welcome back to PHLY Flyers presented by Ashley. We're talking Flyers draft grades, and Charlie, let's pay a little visit to your old pal at the Athletic, Corey Pronman, for the first of the grades the Flyers received in the 2026 draft. Just as a little spoiler here, they really, the Flyers seem to be going with my college strategy. C's got degrees, baby. So Corey Pronman of The Athletic gave the Flyers a C overall for their draft. He writes, the Flyers went with big toolsy defenseman Maxim Sokolovsky at number 27. He moves incredibly well for his size and plays very hard, although he has no offense. Defenseman Brek Liskey and goalie Martin Pisalovic have chances to play in the NHL. I would guess one regular comes from this class for Philadelphia. All right, that's something. And then specifically on Sokolovsky, Sokolovsky is a massive and highly athletic defenseman. He's a strong, mobile player who's very physical and projects to make a ton of stops. The debate on Sokolovsky will come down to his puck play. He can certainly fight the puck at times, although he showed progress as the season went on. The hope is that he can make basic outlets and retrievals, because if so, an NHL coach will play him a lot. And despite the Flyers getting a C overall, Pronman gives the pick itself, the first-round pick itself, a C+. So it's not like he's necessarily down on Sokolovsky. It's just, all right, he's got to be decent. He's got to be not, a 1990s off the glass and out defenseman. He has to be able to make basic plays that happen in today's NHL. We'll see if he can do that consistently. But if he can, it could be a high upside pick.
Yeah. I actually, and we'll go into some of the other draft grades in a few minutes, but I actually expected the grades to be worse. Like I was expecting to see some like D's and F's from the public sphere, given the rankings of the players that they took by the people that are doing the draft grades. Like, Corey Pronman did not have Sokolovsky in his top 30. I don't even believe Sokolovsky was in his top 50. And basically none of the other guys were guys he was like super high on, super excited about. It does seem like Pronman, even if he doesn't love the players, his grade is accounting for the fact that he can see the argument for the players, even if he personally doesn't love them. And like, that's something we've talked about a lot on the show where, I can disagree with what you're doing. I can disagree with your move, but I can accept it if I can at least see the thought process behind it. And it does seem like a lot of these graders are like, yeah, probably not what I would have done, but like, I get it.
If you can tell me how you got there and I'm not like, that's freaking stupid. Like I can understand it, even if I'm like, all right, maybe not what I would have done. Now I like the pick just because like I want a dude who's going to beat someone up. I like that. I think it's good. Also, defense is real important. This is a defense-oriented team. Having a guy that's good at defense seems good. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe it's just like, he's taller Nick Grossman because he can't handle the puck at all. And then, okay, that's not great. That's not great with a first-round pick during a rebuild. But we will see how it works out. But yeah, it does seem there's a lot of like, wouldn't have been what I would have done, but I can see it. Like if it works, it's a really good pick. Like every team does want that guy. It's just, let's see if he turns into that guy.
Yeah, Sokolovsky is fascinating. We was actually talking about this to people in our Discord yesterday after the draft got done. But the fascinating part about Sokolovsky is like he is very, I don't want to say divisive because it's not quite the right word, but like he's polarizing. And he's polarizing in weird ways because, like, so I would say generally speaking, like the three places I look at the most for draft stuff. I look at Corey Prom, I look at Scott Wheeler, and I look at elite prospects. Those are my three go-tos in terms of like the places. And Chris Peters too, I really, really like. He just doesn't put out quite as much content. He's more of a podcaster now, so I just don't really have the time to listen to podcasts. But from what I understand, that podcast that he's on with Cam Robinson is great. I listened to a couple in the lead up to the draft. Point being, though, on the written side, those are the three. Corey is usually a little bit more like his opinions are closer to, I would say, what is like team opinions on players.
Yeah.
Scott Wheeler is much closer to what the internet's opinion is of players. Like he's very close to like draft Twitter. He's probably like the closest thing it comes to a national prospect evaluator as a stand-in for like the consensus view of the online world of players.
Yeah.
And then EP is definitely more on like the like I would say a middle ground of the two. Like there's somewhere
I don't
in
want
the
to say
middle.
aggregator because it's like they're doing their own scouting.
Yes.
They're not just aggregating, but it's like they're doing that as well and bringing in all sorts of different perspectives.
Yeah. So like there's somewhere in the middle that they are stat oriented, but they track their own stats. They have micro stats. So a lot of their like Sokolovsky graded out very well from a micro stat standpoint, obviously graded out very poorly from an offense standpoint. 8 points in 44 games, not great. But what I'm getting at is, you know, Sokolovsky, if you read me Sokolovsky's profile and you're like, okay, what are those three guys going to think about Sokolovsky? I would be like, Proman probably likes him, Wheeler probably hates him, and EP probably has him as like a second round pick. When in reality, Proman hates him. Wheeler's actually more open to him than Proman is, and EP loves him. It's weird. He doesn't map out the way you would expect a guy with his profile to map out in terms of where he falls on the opinions of like the thought leaders in the public prospect sphere. It's just interesting.
Now, the ranking at EP was higher than expected. Absolutely. We're going to have to break in like a second. So I just want to continue this conversation for another minute, Charlie. But when you brought up Proman, like, I feel like Proman is like, yes, an evaluator and doing the scouting and what, but like mock drafter in terms of he's going to get it right. Because it's what you can think what you think about a guy, but this is what's going to happen, you know, like, so this is what it is.
I just think Corey
rankings.
Yeah. I think Corey, the difference between Corey and Scott, and I like them both, is that Corey talks to more people like that drive the decision-making process with teams. And it's not like he is like just parroting what they say, but he is more open to like, if he has a conversation with a scout about a player and the scout makes a compelling argument about that player, he's more open to being like, yeah, you know, I'll let that influence the way I think, because clearly these are people who know what they're doing and they made a compelling argument about this player. Whereas I feel like Scott Wheeler is a little bit more like, nah, these are my opinions based on the numbers and my evaluations. And like, I don't really care if teams like this guy. I like him.
Yeah. And listen, there's value to each. I like getting a consensus because, again, I'm not going to sit down and watch a bunch of film. So I like getting a little bit from everybody. And on the other side, we're going to get a little bit from ESPN and then Elite Prospects take on the Flyers draft. You know it's officially summer when Hoagie Fest comes back to Wawa. And I've got to ask, what's your go-to Wawa order? I like to go with the breaded chicken strips, buffalo sauce, pepper jack. Give me some pickles and onions on that as well. Hoagie Fest is back, and this year it's bringing even more value to the table. Right now, you can get any shorty hoagie, wrap, or chicken sandwich, plus a bag of Hers chips and a small fountain drink for just $6. Or if you're feeling extra hungry, make it a classic meal for only $8. You know why I always make it a classic? Whether you're grabbing lunch between meetings, fueling up before a game, or making a quick stop on a summer road trip, it's an easy, delicious meal at a great price. I have never once made a trip down to Sea Isle without stopping at Wawa first. Something tells me a lot of you out there agree, because you can get big flavor, great value, and the same Hoagie Fest energy we all know and love. But it's only here for a limited time, so get it while you can. Hoagie Fest is back at Wawa. Gotta have a wah-wah. Elkin Chevrolet, run by three brothers, real brothers, local guys, and right now they're going all in, kind of like we wish the Fly Guys would. Check out their inventory of Chevy trucks and SUVs right now. We're talking the ones people actually want and priced to move fast. Silverado, Equinox, Trax, Traverse. If it's on your list, they have it, and they're going fast. So if you've been waiting, do not, because once they're gone, they're gone. Whether it's getting to a game, getting to work, or getting out of town, you'll be driving off in the right ride at a price that makes it an easy yes. And here's the difference. No runaround, no back and forth, no games, just real brothers making real deals every single day. Elkin Chevrolet, real brothers, real deals, and a whole lot of that signature honkin' good service. Route 73 South in Marlton. Remember, Elkin Chevrolet, real brothers, real deals, and a whole lot of honkin' good service. All right, welcome back to PHLY as we break down the 2026 Flyers NHL Draft, and it's time to pay a visit to our old pal Rachel Kryshak, who did the draft grades at ESPN today. Very, very popular amongst Flyers fans right now is Rachel for saying things that kind of make sense. She gave the Flyers a C+ for the draft. She writes, kudos to the Flyers for trading back, understanding they could be patient and accumulate pick value. They left some value on the board in favor of drafting for organizational fit, but got decent value with the Breck Liskey pick. Max Leikkinen is an excellent bet in the 7th round as the youngest player in the draft and a prospect with potential. At the end of the day, you need to draft high-end talent to compete. The Flyers passing on upside for players who fit the style their coach wants to play is risky business and certainly costs them some grading points. Now,
Rachel hates Rick Tocchet.
I am a big fan of Rachel. Everyone that we have had Rachel on dozens of times, big fan. She clearly just doesn't like Rick Tocchet. That is very true. And I want to have, I'm not just going to say this, I'll have her on this week. I want to have a conversation with Rachel about this. I really want to once again try to get to my point about upside that I was trying to make yesterday. I don't know if I did or not. This thing about upside and high-end talent, if you're at 21 or 27 in a weak draft, this is what we have all called it, consensus, weak draft, who are you taking with this high-end upside? That's my question. That might actually work. If guys like Sokolovsky don't have high-end upside, then why are they pretty much the exclusive target of general managers competing to win the Stanley Cup at the trade deadline every single year? They are the most coveted pieces on the market every single year without question. That's my high-end upside. Yeah, man, if a dude could just toe drag the whole league, that would be great. But if he could, his name would be Connor McDavid. He goes first overall. If you can't do that, physical tools are your upside. And this dude has a ton of tools. That's again, maybe he stinks. I'm not making an argument one way or the other. It's just this idea of what upside actually is to me. I feel like we're miscategorizing what upside is.
I think my disagreement with that point by Rachel is less in theory, because everything she says, I don't think is incorrect. You absolutely need to draft for high end talent to compete. You do. That is objectively true, and the Flyers should do that. My disagreement is I don't know if they're, and not, you're more talking conceptually. I'm talking specifically about the guys who were available. I like guys more than Sokolovsky, but the guys I liked more than Sokolovsky are not players that I would consider to be high-end talent. I would have taken Ryan Lynn. I like Ryan Lynn a lot. I would have not traded down. I would have just taken him. I think Ryan Lynn will be a second pair defenseman at the NHL level. I think he is going to be better Cam York. Is that high end? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's higher end in terms of puck skills, but he kind of projects to be in the same spot. I just liked him more. Tommy Blyle, same thing. I like Tommy Blyle a lot. I think he's a second pair defenseman with power play utility if he hits. Is that high end? The only guy I think who was available who I would say does legitimately have high-end talent was Villeneuve. But the Flyers, I do not think were taking him in a million years because I just don't think they liked him. I don't think they liked the person. I think they believe that he is not going to pan out. He's not going to reach that high-end talent ceiling because they had concerns about him, the person, not the player, more than anything else. But beyond Villeneuve, like, even the guys I liked more and had, like, I like Adam Novotny a lot. I think Adam Novotny is probably at best going to be a good second line forward. Like, again, maybe you like them better than Sokolowski, but like, I think all the high end, like the last high end player that was on my board that I was like, man, this guy could be a first liner was Hermanson. And he was gone. Like Dagenet was gone. So like the guys who I thought like Tynan Lawrence was gone. The guys who I looked at, I'm like, yeah, maybe they could be top line guys. They weren't there at 21 anyway, you know?
Yeah. And that's like, I just sometimes, and yeah, like specifically for this draft and the players available, I believe you to be correct. Like if we said for a month, this is a weak draft and they're at 21 and they trade back to get a few more picks at 27, like who are these high upside guys? Why haven't they been drafted yet if they have such high upside? And I just sometimes think we forget, like we think of a defensive specialist. It's like, oh, it's a guy who just has no offensive ability, so they tell us he's really, really good defensively, and we're wrong for saying he's not good. And yeah, like the team did try to gaslight us with that with Andrew McDonald for a while, so I get why there's pushback. Like, trust me, I get pushing back against that. It's like, is he good defensively or is he just always on defense?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like these two things are not the same. But defense itself, being good at it, is a skill. Now, you want to be able to then push the puck the other way, but killing plays, breaking up passes, finishing a guy along the boards, that's a skill. If you don't believe me, ask the Stanley Cup champions. Is Jacob Slavin a high-end defender? Does he have high upside? I think so. Like that's all. All right. I want to have this conversation with Rachel throughout the week, and I'm not even defending the pick. It's the definition of upside to me that I'm like, why is this the only thing every team is looking for every year if it's not important? Anyway, all right. Now the elite prospects grade. It comes from David St. Louis and Mitchell Brown. C+ as well, Charlie. They write, not everyone will get behind a pick like Sokolowski. What stands out in his profiles are not the counting stats. He played inconsistently this season before his role expanded in the playoffs, but his measurements at almost 6'8" and 240 pounds, a Nikita Zadorov clone, Sokolowski has everything it takes to become a top 4 shutdown defenseman. Even the puck skills, even if he didn't show them this season. In flashes, he was toe dragging on defenders and spinning away from them, completing deceptive plays. Don't expect those in the NHL, but there's a large enough skill foundation to complement his profile. With more regular minutes in the OHL, he should get to develop it. And then he says, the inverse of Sokolowski, Brett Liskey has all the habits and finer tricks to control the game, but needs to push his tools to reach the NHL. A clever defender and puck mover, he could help Philadelphia's transition game at the point of maturity. I feel like I missed a sentence there. Anyway, then some other stuff. But good things about Liskey, nice player. Nikita Zadorov clone about Sokolowski. We've heard that from several different scouts and people who like to make those sorts of comparisons. The thing, and I'm glad they added, don't expect those types of plays from Sokolowski in the NHL because everyone can do that sometimes. We have seen Nick Seeler score his 1 goal a season, and it belongs on the yearly highlight tape for the whole league. And then it's like 81 other games, he looked like he doesn't even need a stick. Like everyone can do that a little. They did get just drafted in the first round of the NHL, but like, I'm glad they added that part, but at least the idea of, hey, there's something to build on puck-wise, like that is mentioned, and I think that's important.
Yeah, and I included this in my, I think I included it in my article I did after day 1, after they made the pick. Like, what I've said about EP, like EP definitely cares about stats. You know, their writers, their scouts are stat literate. They pay attention to it. But the difference between them and maybe like a Scott Wheeler, who is a little bit more focused on like goals, assists, points as the main way he's using stats. They track their own stats in terms of micro stats. They track, exit and entries. They track puck battles won. They track all that stuff. And Sokolovsky, even though he never produced points really this year, just 8 in 44 games, as we know, his micro stat profile is pretty good. And those are the types of guys, because like EP always has maybe like 4 or 5 guys they put in their top 32 every year where you're like, wow, they really like that guy. That seems like a little bit off brand for EP. He's not a stat guy. He doesn't score much. And then you look at the microstat profile and you're like, oh, it's because he grades out well as an exit generator, grades out well as an entry generator. He creates a lot of chances for his teammates. And for all of the talk that like Sokolovsky has no offense, and I get it, he didn't score like at all this year. He did a pretty good job. And like they tracked 10 of his 44 games. Like it's a decent sample size. This isn't like they tracked one game and it happened to be the game he played well. And like he tracked about a quarter of his games. He graded up pretty well as a puck mover. He graded up pretty well. So it's like there is something there. And I've seen stat profiles that they've had of like other guys who are like, oh, it's the big physical guy. And they're like in the 10th percentile in all of those puck moving microstats. Sokolovsky's microstats are pretty good. Like there is something there, at least in terms of like base level competency when it comes to puck moving.
That makes sense to me a little because of the profile of the player, like not having, tracked his games, but just the idea of like, what is puck moving really, especially when you're probably the not puck moving defender on your pair. Like, well, he moves well for a big guy. A lot of times the big guy, even like, okay, yeah, he took the dude out in a puck battle, but yeah, the opponent like got his stick on it and got it back to the point man before the hit was actually laid. If he moves better, that means he's going to get there faster. Like that, those little things like that make sense to me. And if he's so big and strong, like if it's a 50-50 battle, I can't imagine he loses a ton of those.
Yeah,
and
sure.
just like little stuff like that, like I can understand where, okay, there is a little bit of skill set. And before we go to break, Chuck, I want to share my grades because I believe in an alternative grading system.
Okay.
Someone asked me on Twitter yesterday, hey, what grade would you give the Flyers? So I graded it by round, Chuck. And I replied, round 1, dog bone hot dog crab. Round 2, Santa Claus devil gift box fire engine. Round 4, jack-o'-lantern. Round 5, yin yang peace sign. Round 7, alien head. No one knows. No one has a goddamn clue, Charlie. That's not to say some of these professionals don't do a great job. They wouldn't make money doing what they did if they didn't. But no one knows a damn thing. So my yin yang peace sign, just as important as a C or a C plus. Draft grades always crack me up. It's like, I don't know, man. They just told us this goalie's not like can't skate and we won't know anything about him for 4 years. I don't know how we're going to grade that. Like incomplete. All right. Coming up on the other side, now that I think we have pretty much covered the draft, maybe we'll do a little bit of Brent Flahr's presser and then get to a bunch of the news and rumors around the league and perhaps the death of the John Carlson dream. Coming up after this quick 2-minute break. You know what's funny? We can stream anything instantly, order food in like 15 minutes, but somehow getting tickets to a game or a concert still feels like a full-time job. You're dealing with waiting rooms, prices jumping around, hidden fees. It's absolutely brutal. That's why I've been using the Game Time app. It just makes the whole thing easy. I was looking for tickets the other day, and guess what? What you see is what you actually pay. There's no surprise fees popping up at checkout. And I love this. Before you buy, you can actually see the view from your seat. So you're not guessing if you're stuck behind a pole or something. They've also got these zone deals where you just pick the section, they pick the exact seat, and you save even more. And with the Game Time guarantee, you know your tickets are legit and you're getting the best price. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app right now. Now that the Stanley Cup and NBA Finals are over, it's time to focus on other sports right here in the city. The World Cup is heating up and the city is buzzing. Plus, warm sunny days at Phillies games are finally here. And who doesn't love BOGO hot dogs or ice cream helmets? And now, there's never been a better time to start something new at Bet365. Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide and live streams 780,000 events each year. And right now, new users get $200 in bonus bets thanks to their Bet $10, Get $200 promo. All you have to do is sign up, make a $10 bet, and they'll throw you $200 in bonus bets. At Bet365, they know the only thing better than winning bets with your own money is winning bets with theirs. Download the app and use code PHLY365. Bet365, where winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Pennsylvania. T's and C's apply. In-app only. Welcome back, PHLY Flyers. Final segment here on this Monday sorta afternoon. Charlie, I forgot in the haste to make my own joke about draft grades to ask you what yours is, and like you do a bunch of work for the draft, so maybe it's more important that you share your opinion than I share the crab emoji. So what did you think of overall? What do you think of this draft class?
Yeah, honestly, I kind of echo what the grades we just read off were. I think it's probably a C. I think I probably go C. So I'm probably with Corey. I know the other ones gave C pluses. I probably go C.
C pluses, yeah.
I don't think it's an F because I do like Sokolovsky and I don't think it was like a dramatic reach. However, there were quite a few guys I liked more that they didn't take. And that dings them a little bit for me. I really like the Liskey pick. There were other guys on the board that I liked okay, here's what I'll say with Liskey. I was not familiar with Liskey. He was not one of the like 60 guys that I did like serious research on before the draft. The more I looked at him and the more I evaluated him, the more I'm like, yeah, if I would have had the time, if I would have had the same amount of time that I had last year to research the draft, Liskey probably would have been in my top 50. I probably would have liked this pick because I would have immediately been like, oh, makes perfect sense as a guy who was buried in the lineup a little bit. And then when he got time, boom, he looked real good. So Liskey is very much a like B plus, A minus pick for me. The fact that they took the two goalies and neither of them are like, oh man, what a steal kinds of goalies. Yeah. That lowers.
How'd this guy fall?
Yeah, like that lowers the grade a bit because in my view, like once you get past the third round, but especially once you get out of the fourth round, then you're literally just throwing darts. So even though I legitimately like both the Sauer pick and the Lakeinen pick, I like both those picks a lot. They don't do much for my grade because I just am not expecting them to pan out.
Like if they did, that would be crazy.
Yeah,
you know?
It would be great.
Noah Cates being what Noah Cates is kind of weird. Like that doesn't happen usually.
Yeah.
So then of course, and then in the seventh, like who knows?
Yeah. So like I think C is the right grade for me because it's like Sokolovsky I'm okay with, but there are other guys I would have taken. Liskey, I like unqualified, like that pick a lot. The goalies I'm skeptical of, but also like I don't know the goalie position that well. So I have to limit the degree to which I am dinging them for that because it's like I don't know their goalies, but also I probably would have rather you not taken two of them.
The goalie picks, like I don't mind the idea of taking two, but it's very much like I got nothing here. I don't know. Whatever the goalie experts say. Yeah. I agree with you on that one, Chuck.
And the other thing, because we said we were going to talk a little bit about the Brent Flahr presser.
Yeah, I just wanted to. I listened to the Flahr thing. There was some stuff in there. I just wanted to get your thoughts if there was anything the people needed to know about if they didn't see it.
Yeah, well, and I honestly think this does influence my like relative lukewarmness on the draft. I think the Flyers, like Brent Flahr usually is he's revealing when he's talking about players, but he's very careful about what he says, about revealing like his emotions about like what the team did. I'm sure there are times he disagrees with what Danny Briere does, but like he never will like come out and be like, yeah, I wouldn't have done that. Like he's very careful about that. But there was a quote he dropped, and then he hinted at it again later in the availability. So it was clearly a message that he was interested in getting across.
This draft, I'll be honest with you, there's layers, and especially early on, our layers got cleaned out quickly, and I've never seen it like that before. And even as the draft went along,
that very much struck me as a tell of like he's not particularly happy about how this draft went either. Like he came away, it's like he came out of his fantasy football draft and he's like, man, there were like 4 times where the guy I wanted was taken right before my pick. Like he seemed like he came out of that draft legitimately frustrated that he didn't get the guys he wanted. And that influences my view of the draft because it's like, well, man, if the guy who was making the picks isn't even super happy, how can I be super happy?
No, and that kind of like my thinking with the goalies, honestly, I like the 2 goalie picks, not because I know if they're going to be good or anything, but because I don't know, let's take someone who is literally a coin flip. It's goaltending. Like, because this draft is no good, then okay, let's just throw the dart that could, if it's a bullseye, we win, you know? All right. Yeah, I just felt like his demeanor and body language kind of got that point across.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he was just kind of like, all right, let's do the presser, I guess. All right. So Charlie, some news and notes from around the league, and we have like 8 or so minutes left in the show. Sorry, no super chats today. Again, we're not live. We will be live again Tuesday, 1 p.m. Tune in. All right. The Hurricanes, Stanley Cup champions. Pretty smart GM there, Charlie, and considering your relationship with him, I kind of blame you for this. They have acquired John Carlson's rights from the Anaheim Ducks. They give up a 6th rounder and defenseman Kyle Masters. He was a 4th rounder in 2021 who plays in the AHL and DCHL, so not a ton of value there. For the rights to negotiate with John Carlson ahead of July 1st. I can't imagine the guy who wants to come east and play for a contender isn't at least somewhat considering, unless like he has his mind completely made up on Tampa at this point, Charlie. My question to you is, if this move would have cost you, general manager Charlie O'Connor, like Yinning or Grons and the KJ/Kent Sauer pick. KJ Sauer is what you said he likes to be called.
Yes.
Would you do it without an indication like, oh yeah, if you trade for my rights, I'll sign? If it's like, we got to do it and then try to negotiate with him like Dan Hamhuis, would you have done it for that cost?
Yeah, I probably would have. And yeah, maybe Danny Briere could have done that. It certainly would have made the draft more exciting because you're like, well, maybe they didn't get anybody, but they got a real shot at getting John Carlson who could dramatically improve the team. You know, this is I wanted to tweet this out. I put it on Blue Sky because funny story, and I mentioned this on Saturday. I forgot that Twitter now has rules where, like, if you tweet a lot and you don't pay for a check mark, that they lock you out of your account. Because they want to try to incentivize you to pay for X. So I got locked out of my account. I was locked out of my account in terms of being able to tweet new things most of the day. So I put it on Blue Sky, but not as many people read that. I wanted to put it on Twitter. You know that I think very highly of Eric Tulsky. And I do think that their interest in John Carlson, it's validating to me that it's like, oh, right, that it shows me that John Carlson is a player that the Flyers should legitimately pursue, because if Tulsky thinks he's good still, then he's probably still good, and he probably makes sense for a smart GM to go for.
They have the best defenseman.
Yeah.
Like they have all the best defensemen.
But here's my thing. I don't get why Carolina is targeting John Carlson. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, and I'll explain why. Okay, so right now, John Carlson is a right shot defenseman. He plays the right side. That's what he does. The Hurricanes currently have Jalen Chatfield, they have Sean Walker, and they have Alexander Nikishin. That is their right side. Now, you might say, well, maybe they're talking to him because they're thinking they're going to trade Nikishin. Fair. Maybe that is what they're thinking. And they're like, well, we have Carlson in our back pocket if we work out a deal for Nikishin, or maybe Eric just knows they're going to trade Nikishin, and this is a dead giveaway. But here's my other thing. The way that John Carlson provides the most value to you, and this is why I think the Flyers should target John Carlson, is his power play acumen. He's been one of the best power play quarterbacks in the league for a long time. The Carolina Hurricanes have Shane Gostisbehere too, who is a near point per game power play defenseman. And if he's not on your power play one, if he's not getting, 70 seconds a night, on every one of your 2-minute power plays, then what are you doing with Shane Gostisbehere? What's the point? So you're gonna trade Nikishin. You're going to sign Carlson to what is probably a $10 million cap hit and use him as a third pair, second power play guy. Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like to me, like, Carlson is a way bigger need for the Flyers. Like, the Flyers could use John Carlson way better than Carolina could. This just strikes me as like a big, big luxury signing if they actually sign Carlson. The fit doesn't make a lot of sense to me, Bill.
Maybe. Yeah, I've heard people bring this up, and there is the Nikishin thing where it's like, well, he just takes his spot, but maybe they're getting calls on Ghost. Maybe they have other trades lined up. Maybe they're just going to hold him hostage from the rest of the league and be like, Hey, Danny, you want a day extra, like on tomorrow, if the Flyers have to give up an asset to get his? I don't know. Who knows?
It's just weird to me. It's a weird fit. And look, Tulski's smarter than me, so I'm sure he's got something cooking. I'm sure he's got. I certainly haven't talked to him. I've been busy this weekend. He's probably more busy than me, and I've been pretty busy. So I'm sure that he has a reason for it. I just like when they traded for Carlson's rights, the general consensus on Twitter and on Blue Sky and all the social media apps was basically like, well, there goes Carlson. Flyers can't get him. Carlson signed him with Carolina. And I'm like, maybe, but also like, I don't get the fit. I don't think it's a certainty he signs with Carolina just because it's like, where does he fit? How does it make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, like even in Tampa, like Victor Hedman he was hurt. He's not really Victor Hedman anymore, maybe. Radish is gone. Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
You see the spot. It is a little different there in Carolina. All right, Charlie, I don't want to like go into overtime today or anything. So we only have a few minutes on the Zach Werenski stuff. And if it's still up in the air on Tuesday, we will absolutely talk about it on Tuesday. I just want to bring up this one part that Kevin Kurz mentioned in his article on The Athletic about potentially pursuing Zach Werenski, which the Flyers are at least making the initial calls on.
Sure.
You told me my crazy proposal that I put out there on Friday was way too much.
Yes.
I did not include Tyson Foerster in that proposal. Kurz says Foerster may be untouchable. I like Tyson Foerster a lot. I know you like Tyson Foerster a lot. Is he untouchable to you?
Well, you said, Bill's like, I like Tyson Foerster. I know you like Tyson Foerster. You know what? We don't like Tyson Foerster nearly as much as the Flyers do. I can tell you that. They freaking love this guy. Is he untouchable? Like, I don't know. I know that whenever you bring up the possibility of Tyson Foerster getting traded, they're like, yeah, we're not moving him. Does that mean he's untouchable, or does that just mean that like they don't see a world where like another team's valuation of Foerster will match the Flyers' valuation of Foerster?
Yeah, like they're not getting Cale Makar.
Yeah, like it may be more that than he's truly untouchable.
It's like they think like Foerster and 2 firsts gets them Makar. I feel like in their head. Like that, oh yeah, he's not untouchable in that situation. But even for Werenski, 1 tier down. Like, nope. Absolutely not. I hope they're right. But yeah, you are like, even a national show like Jeff Marek will be like, someone will mention Foerster as a piece. He goes, I'm going to stop you right there. I would just take him out of this and put in someone else.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems to be the Flyers absolutely love this guy, and untouchable. Like, yeah, man, they would trade him for Connor McDavid. Sure. They would. But since that's not going to happen, like, he's untouchable because what they could get for him is nothing close to how they value him. I hope they're right. I really hope he shows us this year he is not just, oh yeah, man, he's like a 25, maybe 30 goal guy who plays some really nice defense for you, drives some play. It's like, oh no, he really is Mark Stone. Like, he really actually is Mark Stone. And then if they're right, hell yeah. But all right, Chuck, that's just about going to do it for us today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on the PHLY Sports YouTube page. We'll be back Tuesday, 1 p.m. Make sure you tune in and super chat us then. So we couldn't get to you today. Follow us. Jesus. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers and follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. I am Bill Matz. That is Charlie O'Connor. Thank you, Brenna. Be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.